jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
Yeah, what's good? Shout out to the Lounge Chat and MF and Game 8 side official. Negotiation needed period. This is in response to reaction to KD68 in his video that he did on El Chin Checker. And this is gonna be simple. This is not gonna be too difficult, right? But knockout. What are you doing? See, people think I'm coming in knockout because of our history. No. I'm just here as like a mentor, because obviously there's some frustration going on with the turn of events. Everybody seemed to be up in arms. Not just everybody. His fans, his supposedly diehard fans. And it saddens a lot of people that Knockdown 68 has turned his back on El Chin Checker. He said, if you remember, he used to be cooking everybody on Tank Davis on this panel. But now, if they come on this panel and they cooking good enough, he might join in the cook session. See, that's why you don't invite everybody else to the dinner. You don't invite everybody to the dinner because they just don't know how to conduct themselves in a hospitality way. Who in their right mind would turn their back on a fighter who's getting the bag? Not only are you turning your back on a fighter that you rock with heavy, you're basically saying, you're trying to prove to us that you was in support of Lamont Roach to begin with, which, as I remember, you wasn't too supportive of Tank Davis fighting Lamont Roach. So at the end of the day, the after effect of him going to a draw with Tank Davis and the fact that Tank Davis is not facing this man in an immediate rematch should not be your priority. That shouldn't be your priority, man. Your priority should be trying to find out, is this fight going to be a sanctioned bout? What are the rules? What's the time limit on the rounds? And everything else to go along with it. Y'all worrying about acting like y'all principals, and Tank Davis is one of y'all students. No, he's not in school no more. Tank Davis is not even in the school of hard knocks anymore. He's graduated from that long time ago. But when I hear you say that you can't stand by, I think you're being influenced by a lot of people. And I think you're forgetting the fact that you may be still concussed by what Terrence Crawford did July 29th, 2023. The reason why I say that is you feel like it's time for you to pull the trigger this time around. You know what I'm saying? So you won't be blindsided. You're going to pull the trigger early on Tank Davis to show people that you're willing to let go some of your hardcore fighters that you rock with heavy. So you're going to pull the trigger on Tank, slice him, stab him in the back, and then say, you know what? I'm not supporting you heavy no more. Why? Why? Because let me bring up a name that you know very well there. Knockout. You know a name by the Errol Spence Jr. real well. I mean, this is a guy who you had countless of debates, panels, conversation topics, friendships, no friendship, shit like that, right? When Crawford defeated him, you came in and gave Crawford his props for about a good 22, say about 22 hours. Then you turned around and said, let me get back to what they know me for, hating on Crawford. So you went back to doing the carrying on the daily events. You only gave Crawford his just due for a little bit, and then you went back to supporting Spence. The wild part about that scenario is that Tank hasn't lost yet. I can understand that you feeling that way about Errol Spence and you really don't know what to do. But why isn't your time taken to find out what's going on with Errol Spence though? Because I believe you rock heavier with EJ than you did Tank, in my opinion. You rocked heavier with him. But when you look at it right now, you're holding Tank accountable for a fight that he's not taking when he already fought the man. Whereas Errol Spence Jr., he had a rematch locked in with Terrence Bud Crawford, and he refused to take the rematch. When Terrence Crawford activated the rematch, he said he had cataract surgery. What I'm trying to tell you, it's no freaking line that you can draw that sustains your argument to say this makes factual sense to me that I should show more distance, more separation from Tank Davis than I should Errol Spence Jr. EJ was locked into a rematch just like Tank was. Both of them performed the same habit. They made the same decision. They both pretty much declined. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence declined the rematch. Tank Davis declined the rematch to a point. There was step aside money given. But the good thing about what Tank did, he allowed Lamont Roach to get a paycheck again. Even though the second one is a partial, he allowed him to get a paycheck. So then you have to look at, did you really care about Lamont Roach heading into this fight? No, you didn't. Do you really care if Tank Davis doesn't fight Lamont Roach in the rematch? Is it something that's considered to be an epic clash between two fighters in a rematch? No, absolutely not. So all the listeners, you can take this as you want because it doesn't make any sense at all for us to think that a boxing match that no one was looking for in the beginning is something we are dreaming of right now. We're salivating over a rematch with Tank Davis and Lamont Roach. All because he's fighting who? Jake Paul. Jake Paul, a manufactured fighter who a lot of you all have been supporting on the sneak and saying he's doing great things for boxing. But yet Tank can't get a bag. But yet there's very minimal criticism for Canelo Alvarez, who's about to fight Jake Paul the same way. But he doesn't get criticized because I guess him fighting Jake Paul before Crawford y'all really didn't care because y'all didn't want Crawford to get that freaking Canelo fight to begin with. So if Canelo was going over there to fight Jake Paul, y'all was good with it. Why? Because you had ulterior motives to say, I don't want him, I don't want Crawford to get that bout with Canelo. That's the way I see it. I ain't gonna hold you. That's the way I see it. Shout out to Smoke Session Sports and Entertainment. Salute to you. Mike on deck. What's good? That's the way I see it right there. People looking at it like I'm supposed to, you know, um, join the motorcade rolling down the street with flags flying in protest of Tank getting a bag with Jake Paul, a fighter who has made it perfectly clear, crystal clear, that he has a short window left in boxing. So all of a sudden, the people that's supposed to rock with El Chinchecker the hardest, supposed to be his hardcore fans, he's getting reprimanded. He's getting denigrated, all because he don't want to fight a fighter, a local fighter that he has much respect for, that he gave his biggest payday in his career. He's supposed to return and fight him in the rematch, but yet Knockout don't want to mention the fact that Errol Spence hasn't been back in the ring since Bud destroyed him. I think your energy should be focused on where's Errol Spence Jr. finding EJ. That's what you should, finding EJ. You should be in the local grocery stores, the Aldi, the Publix, Whole Foods, looking on the milk cartons to see where the hell is Errol Spence at and why he haven't returned to the ring to make this fight. That's where the energy should be put at. Not what we hearing, all this bickering and stuff about Tank Davis. That shit don't make no sense to me. And it shouldn't make no sense to y'all either, because we're not writing his checks. But if EJ said he don't want to entertain a rematch, right? And he had cataract surgery. He hasn't been back to the ring, and really hardly the same people that's criticizing Tank is not really talking about him on a regularity, right? Then you turn around, you go to Tank. It's not like he's not fighting at all. EJ's not fighting at all. But Tank is just not fighting his rematch opponent. But the good thing about Tank, he gave the man step aside money. Gave him step aside money. He's happy. He clearly was happy to take the step aside money so that he got that. Now you look at him potentially fighting an exhibition bout. He's not the first professional fighter to fight an exhibition bout. There's been plenty within the history of boxing that's recorded in the annals of this sport. So therefore, you should take a look at that the way you do and say, am I putting too much, abrasive? Am I putting too much effort in here, too much negative energy into Tank fighting a Jake Paul? All because y'all want to come together for some weird, strange reason and say, now we're hardcore Lamont Roach fans, all because he went the distance. Why y'all wasn't rallying behind Isaac Cruz, man? Isaac Cruz went the distance. He lost, but he went the distance. They say a star was born. Tank Davis catapulted that man's career. He catapulted freaking Isaac Cruz's career. They wasn't saying that about Lamont Roach. They wasn't saying a star was born tonight. They just talking about the controversy, why Steve Willis didn't make the call. If he would have made the call, Lamont Roach would have won. Y'all going off a wish and a prayer that Steve Willis should have made the call. And he didn't make the call. He should be punished for dereliction of duty, but the commission didn't hire him. He was from the sanctioning body. So we found out that they couldn't overrule what Steve Willis failed to do in the ring. So now you have people on the outside of the ropes continuing to hold Tank Davis accountable for Steve Willis' negligence. They are going off a hope and a dream like they never seen a fighter get robbed before in a fight. So you're looking at it like Tank was supposed to lose. He was supposed to lose in that fight. But yet Steve Willis neglected to give an 8 count all the way through. He neglected to take a point when Tank dipped his head outside the ropes to wipe his face. He neglected all that. So I'm asking y'all, when y'all going to go to the center and pay for an abortion to get this freaking this stillbirth out of your system? That shit is over and done with. Y'all carrying this motherfucker around like it's still living. They went to a draw. They went to a draw. It's over. It ain't being changed. So y'all cats out here saying that you want to cook Tank. It's not going to matter because he's going to continue to show y'all that he's going to fight Jake Paul for millions of dollars, and that's the way it's going to be. And can't nobody do anything about it. I think a lot of you all is feeling some type of way about Tank Davis, especially knockout. He's still concussed from the freaking July 29, 2023. And you know, this is just a residual effect of people that's basically living through the Errol Spence um, destruction, the T-Mobile massacre. That's all. They vicariously living and advocating in a weird dynamic to basically say, I've seen this already. I've seen this already. Another one of my favorite fighters didn't get it done. They wanted Tank Davis to get it done, but he didn't. He went to a draw. So now they want to take a different approach. They want to say, I'm going to abandon abort mission and hold Tank accountable for getting a larger paycheck than Lamont Roach. They act like, look, y'all, hold on. Look, they act like Lamont Roach was a champion at 135 pounds. They act like this man was a seated champion at 135 pounds. This man was coming up from 130. They ridiculed the hell out of him. They ridiculed the hell out of this guy for bringing up Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach does better than what they think. And then all of a sudden, it's what? It's chaos and confusion. I'm going to leave that right there. I'm not done. I'm going to leave it right there for now. But for those of you that's out, you may be on your bicycles in Texas, scooters, skateboards. Tell Knockout it'll be okay. Tell him it's okay if he has resigned his membership in supporting Tank Davis. It's okay. Because when you aborted Errol Spence the way you did, nobody missed you. You and all the others. You know what I'm saying? You and all the other Errol sections, they didn't miss you, bro. But I wasn't expecting you to abandon Tank, though. I mean, you done went hard for Tank, bro. You done went hard. You went hard in the paint for Tank. And now all of a sudden, this man is looking to get a bigger payday. And you saying to yourself, this is the perfect time for me to become an insurgent. This is the perfect time for me to pretty much stab Tank in the back. This is the perfect time for you to basically weaponize yourself with criticism for Tank, all because he want a bigger and better paycheck with Jake Paul. Anyway, yeah, man, y'all hold it down, man. Y'all hold it down. I'll be back. Don't worry.